With a series like this, so often do you wish you got satisfactory closure time with your main characters, and in the Stranger Things finale, you get it. In the Stranger Things epilogue, there are so many little tiny moments and scenes that I believe do the characters justice and give them the proper send-off that they deserve. Just to recap, Hopper and Mike have a great conversation about him going to his graduation and not getting stuck up in the pain and the agony of losing someone, because Hopper went through that and he knows what it's like, and he doesn't want Mike to go down that same dark path. There's also Dustin's epic graduation speech where he gives a you to the system, a nod to Eddie, and embracing your true weird and nerdy self. Hopper and Joyce get engaged, which of course happens at Enzo's, and they decide to leave to Montauk actually, which is a nod to what inspired the series, and they're going to leave Hawkins for a better life, peaceful and away from all the craziness and trauma that they have in Hawkins. Other than the main scene I'm going to talk about, the scene with the teens is my second favorite. It is a really sweet get-together where these new adults are meeting up again, talking about their dreams and where life has taken them. They agree to meet once a month, and the emotions they feel as they discuss how they'll never have friends like each other is so incredibly heartwarming. Those scenes are all really cute, but I really want to talk about the last scene and how it is a beautiful end to an overall phenomenal series. So the final scene starts the same way the show began, with a sprinkler outside and a D&D game in the basement. It's really sweet to see the kids playing again because it's the game that brought them all together in the first place. So we get the usual D&D shenanigans, but after the campaign ends, Max is somewhat perplexed by the seemingly bland finale, the simple happy ever after ending. But at this moment, Mike explains how comfort and happiness is complex and that there's a bit more to the story. He explains what happens to the characters after the campaign, and for us, we see what happens to our beloved D&D nerds. For example, Max and Lucas fall deeper in love and finally catch a movie together. Dustin dives into his studies, but still finds time to see friends like Steve. Will moves away to a city and finds acceptance and love. Mike becomes a writer, telling stories inspired by his friends. He then goes on to say how the mage's true story can never be told. In this moment, it's revealed that at least according to Mike's theory, 11, aka the mage, escaped, that she had faked her death with the help of her sister, and the solemn tone of the ending begins to feel a bit more hopeful as we get a last-minute twist. Max asks where she went, and Mike said he doesn't know, but would imagine that she went to live in a beautiful land far away. At this moment, we see Elle walking on a gorgeous open landscape, of course, with 3 waterfalls. It's a very emotional theory as the kids kind of understand what he's saying, but they say, how do we know if it's true? Mike says we don't. They all go around in a circle saying that they believe that the mage survived, that 11 survived, and it is such a heartwarming moment that brings tears to everybody's eyes watching and to them, because maybe, just maybe, 11 survived. The kids then put away their D&D books for what seems like to us the last time. As the kids head up the stairs, Holly and her friends rush down, eager to start a campaign of their own. This moment is so bittersweet because in a way the story is cyclical, with the new party being the same age as the originals when the series started. It's especially bittersweet for Mike, who has watched the love of his life go to a better place. His friends move on, and the weight of saving the world balance on top of him. But in a way, he's content, because especially as a storyteller, he knows that to defeat the bad, to defeat the evil, sometimes you don't get your happy ending. Now, as for Elle, is she really dead? Well, you may be upset when I say this, but does it really matter? Fans had been calling for a major death the entire series, that the stakes wouldn't truly feel high if everybody survived. Yet, if the Duffers actually killed a main character off, people would be pissed. That's why I think their decision to leave 11's fate ambiguous is a genius move. I mean, first of all, the sheer marketing value of leaving her death uncertain means people are going to debate and post online about their own thoughts, which of course only helps the show. But from a narrative point of view, I think we as viewers can somewhat choose our own ending. The fact of the matter is, the ending we see isn't even the distant future. It's just a year and a half after the final battle. Mike's theory is only proposed at the end, and the characters have their whole lives ahead of them. That's why, in my humble opinion, I choose to believe that 11 lives. I think she died for the sake of the story, and she needed to disappear for things to calm down and for our characters to resume their lives. But once things settle down, Who knows? I'm also a firm believer with media that if I'm physically seeing a character on screen, they're alive. But that's just me. In my own canon, Eleven is laying low and enjoying time away from the crazy hellscape she's had to endure her entire life. That being said, after a few years, it wouldn't surprise me if she spies on Mike to see where he is and reconnects with him. Who's to say that 5 to 10 years after the show ends that she wouldn't be able to be with Mike again? I think it's very possible, and as long as they keep a low profile, happily ever after. Cause also, she isn't really going to be happy spending the rest of her life without all of these people that she loves so much. I just don't see her living as a hermit for another 60 years. Regardless of my own opinion though, I think leaving the ending ambiguous means that we as viewers get to decide the story for ourselves, in our own little D&D way. There's a bittersweet yet hopeful vibe of not truly knowing what happens to our main character, and I think that's a pretty fitting last feeling that the show leaves us with. But with that being said, I believe. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.